YouTube! Thanks so much for coming back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Angela and I post all kinds of videos, from faith videos, vlogs. I post mukbangs, eating shows, and different kinds of lifestyle videos, and I upload twice a week. Maybe you are someone younger and you are just coming into the faith and you're wondering how you can find a godly man, a man who is after God's heart, and a man who is genuinely seeking after God and to live for him. Maybe you are older and you have been searching for years, searching for a while, and you're just not sure what else you can do to better find that man that you are looking for, that is living righteously and holy and according to the word of God. So whatever your reason may be, I'm hoping that this video can help you try to find some new ways that you can incorporate into your life where you can find that husband that you are searching for. I'm going to be talking about 3 key things that you can do today to find that godly man. Number 1 is going to be focusing on yourself. Number 2, I'm going to be speaking about where exactly you can find him, what places to go to, what places not to go to. Finally, number 3, I am going to be sharing some of the specific qualities and characteristics of a godly man so you can make sure that he really is who he says he is. So we are currently at the end of 2022, and we know that in the world today it is extremely difficult to find godly people, especially a godly spouse, whether that is a wife for a man or a husband for a woman. It is really difficult. I feel like it's really scarce and rare, unfortunately, but it is possible. Everything is possible with God. So let that bring peace to you, let that comfort you, and I truly do believe that every person has a soulmate, someone that is meant for them. So I know some people, even Christians, don't believe in soulmates, but I personally do, and I can share on why I believe that in another video if you guys are interested. I have spoken to many women, and I know that I was at this point one time in my life, and I've had many Christian friends, so I know that this is something typical that is currently going on, which is women. I'm speaking on only women. It may be the same for men as well, but women in particular, we have a really difficult time trying to find a man that is actually seeking God, that his life aligns with what the scriptures say, and that he's not just pretending to be a Christian to maybe impress you or to just be in your life. You don't want someone that is impersonating a Christian or someone that is not serious enough. You are genuinely seeking God, then you don't want to be with someone who is lukewarm. For those of you who don't know what lukewarm means, it is pretty explanatory in itself. So lukewarm water is neither cold nor hot, so it's a little bit of both. When you're speaking about a lukewarm Christian, it is someone who is they look godly in some ways. They may follow some things of the Bible, but then half of them is very worldly, and they're doing things that Christians shouldn't do. You are wondering how you can find a godly man who can hopefully one day be your husband and create a life with you, is to first and foremost, you want to be working on yourself. Now, this is my first point because I feel like this is probably one of the most important parts about it, is not so much focused on him, but I want to focus on the women. That is because God is going to work on the both of you at the same time and at different times. But if you are meant to be together, let's say you have a soulmate and God knows that both of you were created for each other and that you will eventually come together as husband and wife. But in the meantime, when you guys are apart and you don't even know each other, he is secretly working on you. So things specifically are going on in your life, whether good or bad, and he is building you up. Everything that is happening to you right now, everything that has happened to you yesterday and all of the years prior, everything that is going to happen is already willed by God. He knows everything before you do, and it's all happening for a reason and a purpose. You may not understand now what he's doing, but later on we do understand. And every little thing, every little intricate detail in our life is building your character. It is benefiting you so that you can be a wife to that godly husband that he is setting up for you. Maybe you have things in your life currently that need to go, that are not of God. Really want to reevaluate yourself. Do some self-reflection on your characteristics, on your personality. Maybe write down a list of your current weaknesses and your current strengths, things that you are happy that you are doing, that you have incorporated in your life that are godly, and then things that maybe you're noticing, okay, I can get rid of this, or this thing here in my life is not good. It is not benefiting my walk with God. So whatever this is, that needs to go. I guarantee you that as soon as you start eliminating more things from your life that are not of God, then God will inch you closer to your destiny, and he will bring you closer to that husband, that godly man that you are trying to find. Are you a godly woman? Are you prepared to be a godly wife? You can look in the book of Proverbs to find out exactly what a godly woman is supposed to look like, supposed to speak like, or act like. You want to be as close to that as possible. That's not to say that you need to be perfect by the time that you meet your man or your husband, but you need to be at least working towards being the woman that a godly man is going to need. You can't expect to find a godly man, and you can't expect God to bring him into your life when you are living like the world, when you are doing things that a godly man is not going to find attractive, because godly men have different expectations and different standards. They have different values and morals, as they should. A true godly man is not going to want to marry a woman who, let's say, goes out and parties every night, or goes out and parties even once a week. There is very specific things that a godly man is going to be searching for. It's not the typical things that we are told that men want in society. What we are often told is what men of the world want. And even some of them may not want it, but that is what we are told, and those are the messages that are often thrown in our face in media, TV, movies, social media, all of that stuff. My second point is the places where you can find a godly man. I feel like these should be common sense, but for the video, for the purpose of trying to help as many people as possible, I will mention some of the places that should be obvious about where you most likely will not find a godly man. You are not going to find him in a club, in frat parties, or you're not gonna find him at the bar. You're not gonna find him at a casino gambling his life away. I can't possibly list every single worldly place So I hope that you guys get a good idea of the kinds of places that I'm speaking about. Essentially, you're not going to find him anywhere where there is going to be immorality. So whether that is sexual immorality or drugs, alcohol. If you are currently going to places like that and you're meeting guys and it's just not working out, then that is probably why. The man you're looking for that is going to be following after God's heart is definitely not going to be in those places. I mean, there may be like one slight exception sometimes, because you always hear about those successful stories that was like, oh, people said this would never happen, but it happened to me. I am speaking about the majority. So generally speaking, you're not going to find a godly man in those kinds of places. So what kind of places will you find him? And that is going to be places where obviously people are worshiping and praising God and they are there to spend time with him. That can be a church. Definitely you're going to find a lot of godly men in churches. If you are younger, then I would suggest maybe looking into Christian youth groups, Christian community groups where you can meet other people that are around your age. And I also think it's really nice if you are younger, let's say if you are in high school, I think it's really sweet if you are in a youth group together and you're kind of starting out your faith together, growing as a couple, but also growing in your faith with God as well. God can work in many ways. He can have you separated from your spouse for majority of your life and then working on you separately. Then you come together in adulthood, which is what happened personally for me. Or something else that is beautiful that God does is he can often bring up spouses together when they are younger. Looking for Christian volunteering opportunities. So any ways that other Christians are doing volunteer work, that is really great because you get to really spend time with those people and work one-on-one together or in groups, and it's a great opportunity for you to get to know the people that you are volunteering with. I was once, a couple years ago, I was attending a church. I no longer attend it, but at the time I was going, and I believe it was once a month. On a Friday. They would pick a Friday once a month, and they would in the evening pick an area in the city where they believed needed the most help. And in the evening, they would set up tables outside on the sidewalk. And actually, prior to this, during the week leading up to that day, all of the volunteers from the church would organize the food and designate certain people to specific foods. Like this person would be in charge of making the sandwiches, this person would be in charge of making the hot soup, that person would bring the drinks, that person brings the bread, and so on and so forth. That is what my church did, and I think that is an example of a great opportunity to meet a godly husband. I didn't go there for that purpose because I was already with Michael, but I did watch other people interact, and I know that you are there for the purpose of helping those in need. That is your main purpose of doing that. But on the other hand, a second part to it that was great was that I was seeing all of the volunteers get to know each other and work together and really build some strong, amazing friendships. So if you can find something like that, then I highly suggest it. Now, I know that some people may not want to look for someone in person. Maybe you are shy, or maybe you just, according to your schedule, whatever your life may be, you may not be able to, let's say, go out and meet people often. So I would then say to try to find Christian communities online And that may be on Facebook. You can join like Christian groups, Instagram. That can be on YouTube. I have seen some awesome communities come together and people get to know each other on here. I am definitely for this idea because this is how I actually met Michael. We met online, we met on Instagram, if you didn't know. I personally think that this is a good idea. Other people who have not done it may not suggest it, but it has worked for us and it has worked for other people that we know. So if you are interested in that, then I would suggest trying it. When it comes to dating sites, I don't have any personal experience with this. I don't have any personal advice, but I'm pretty sure you can find some great Christian dating sites. I wouldn't suggest going to the average normal sites, but if you can find one specifically that is going to have Christians on it, then you can definitely try that. My last and third key point to finding a godly man is to really pay attention to his specific qualities and characteristics. Let's say you've already done those two first key points that I spoke about, and now you have actually found him. You've found someone that you are interested in, that you really like, that you guys have an amazing connection with, and you really do believe that he is a godly man. So now, how do you go about that? First thing is you want to make sure that you are paying close attention to how he speaks, how he reacts in times of conflict and disagreements with you and with other people. Want to see if the way that he lives his life actually aligns with the Word of God. So a lot of people are great at talking and they are great at saying they are one thing, but then they are not so great about actually proving that with the way that they live. You want to make sure that he is living according to the scriptures. Don't just pay attention to what he is saying. Don't just believe what he is telling you, but really let him show you who he is by his actions. Everybody has a struggle with something. None of us are perfect. When we come to God, none of us just have no problems. Things don't just disappear. Things do go away and things do get better, and we do become victorious over things that we have struggled with. But from time to time, everyone is going to still have battles with something. Something is going to be different for everybody. So what you are struggling with is going to be different from what I am struggling with. And the man that you have found is also going to have his own struggles. And that is okay. That is not to say that he's not a godly man just because he's having a struggle. But the key point here is to see, how does he handle that struggle? Does he make excuses? Does he justify what he is doing? Does he seem like he has no problem with what he's doing? If you've confronted him about it, how has he reacted to it? If you give him scripture, if you show him what God has said, does he become convicted or does he continue brushing it off? Those are key things that you want to be paying attention to. It's okay to be with someone who is currently struggling with something. If you are hoping to find someone who doesn't have any problems, you're just most likely not going to find it. Nobody is going to be completely sinless. You can try your best. You can try your best to follow the Word of God as we are commanded to, and follow his commandments, and we are commanded to choose righteousness and to choose holiness rather than things of the world. But you have to also be reasonable and understand that the man that you are going to be with is going to have some struggles, as I'm sure you do as well. The point here is you want to make sure that he is at least working towards fixing that whatever it may be. Or I hope at least that he is willing to make some sort of change, that he shows conviction, that he shows grief for it, that he is willing to fight whatever it takes to eliminate that from his life, especially if it is something that is personally affecting you in your relationship or your marriage, your future marriage. You want to make sure that he is taking the necessary steps to make that better. How does he react when problems arise, whether those problems be between you two or between him and other people? How does he act when he is angry, when he is stressed? Because in those moments is kind of sometimes when we really see who the person really is, or sometimes people's true struggles come out in those moments. How does he react in a problematic situation? Does he go to God when something is wrong? Let's say a stressful situation happens in your life. Does he immediately go into prayer, himself taking that leadership, or does he also include you and say, okay, we have come across this problem, now let's both get on our knees and let's seek God together? If you can't in that moment, let's say you are overly stressed or overly anxious or worried, he should be taking that leadership role and praying over the both of you, praying over your family, over your friends. Does he pray for strangers, for people that he doesn't even know, for people that he's never met? Does he seek God for answers on personal things with him? Or does he only believe that other people have problems and other people should change? So accountability for his own struggles is really important. Whenever something comes up, you want to see him doing things that are godly, whether that be praying, fasting, maybe even seeking other Christian men, elderly men who have gone through the same thing and seeking advice from them. You want to see him really taking action and taking steps needed that are going to benefit your relationship. I want to add that one of the struggles that a lot of men have and women have as well is anger. So in our anger, we often say things that we don't mean, we often do things that we don't mean, and we're not thinking properly. So if he does have angry moments, at least if he has acknowledged that, if he has acknowledged that it is a problem, then you want to see him again making the necessary steps to changing that. And after he's no longer angry, you really want to see if he is continuing to seek God's will in his life. Ask yourself whether or not you are witnessing him ask God for help on how to control his anger, on how to give him more peace, on how to give him more self-control. Ask yourself if he fasts regularly. Does he fast with you? Does he fast for others? If you ask him to fast right now, what is he going to say? Is he going to say yes? Is he going to say no? Is he going to say he's never fasted? Now, if someone has never fasted but are willing to try or willing to do it, then that is fine as well, because a lot of people they don't know how to fast, or they just haven't really gotten there to that point where in their relationship with God that they have decided to do that. As long as he is willing to do those things, then that is a key point to remember. You really want to make sure that he is willing to learn more and accept correction, and make sure that he is not just always stuck in his ways, because you don't want to be with someone whose ego is so big, or someone who is so prideful that they believe that is kind of like their way or the highway, that they have everything figured out. They may be a Christian for 20, 30 plus years, but they have to always be willing to be accepting of change. If something is happening and you come to him and you tell him like, this is bothering me, can you please work at this, or can you please change this, or can you do this to better our relationship? You really want to be with someone who is going to say yes, someone who's going to hear you out and genuinely care for how you are feeling, someone who is going to agree to work on himself, someone who accepts correction and is able to realize that they don't have everything right and that they may be wrong about something and are willing to change, that is a really good quality to have, especially when we are speaking about a godly man, because a godly man who is potentially going to be a godly husband has a leadership role, and as a leader, those are qualities that you really want him to have. Another thing is, when you speak together, when you get to know each other more, you really want to focus on what are his values, what are his views on marriage and family. If you're interested in him and you want a future with him and you want to marry him and potentially build a family with him, then you want to make sure that you both have the same values and morals. This isn't something that you want to wait till after marriage to figure out, because marriage already comes with its own struggles, and you really want to make sure that you have this stuff at least spoken about and to have somewhat of a mutual agreement before stepping into marriage. Because if you guys are getting married and you already agree on so many things and you have the same vision of what you want for your family and for your life, then that is going to make such a world of a difference. I promise you, that is going to make your marriage so much easier. It's going to just lift off so many potential struggles off of your shoulders. And I guarantee you will be so thankful that you guys spoke about that and you had those difficult conversations before getting married. My last point is, you want to make sure that he is taking on the role of a godly husband. So you're going to find what a godly husband is supposed to do, supposed to act like, supposed to speak like, supposed to live by. You're going to find all of those things in the scriptures. So essentially, you want to see whether or not he is willing to step in the role, step into the position of a godly husband. So that is for him to be the provider, for him to be the protector, for him to be the leader, the guider of your marriage, of your family. You really want to see him willing to take those necessary steps, really be that man that God has called all of his sons to be. Once you take all of these things into consideration, then the final decision is ultimately up to you, obviously, for you to decide if he really is a godly man, if he is the man that you are looking for. But that is all I have for today's video. I really hope that I was able to help you guys try to figure out some other ways that you can potentially find a godly man, the places that you can go, some things that you can do, and finally, when you find one, or when you think you have found one, specific characteristics that you can look for to make sure that he really is a godly man. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it with your friends, your family. Please share it with anyone who you know who is looking for a godly husband. And please subscribe. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.